Are you ready to land on an island where bird poop is considered good luck? Sorry is said over 800 times a day, and just watching YouTube on an old smart TV could get you hauled into court? Welcome to Ireland, the land of Guinness red hair, 300 rainy days a year, and bizarre, unwritten rules that, if forgotten, will earn you a colder look than the Atlantic wind. But that's not all. This is the only country in the world that once banned divorce and has hosted Europe's biggest matchmaking festival for 160 years straight. Take a deep breath, because the following 15 taboos will forever change the way you see this friendly island. Let's dive in. Number 15. Don't complain about the weather. Ireland is one of the countries with the most unpredictable weather in Europe. Rain can fall at any moment, even if you saw sunshine just 10 minutes ago. Summer temperatures rarely go above 70 degrees Fahrenheit or 21 degrees Celsius and usually hover around 60 degrees or 16 Celsius. Snow in winter is extremely rare, but humidity and strong winds can blow away rooftops in just minutes. The Irish haven't adapted with fancy raincoats. In fact, most don't even own a proper one. They live with rain like they live with their neighbors. Got soaked? Smile. Wind in your face? Smile again. Weather isn't something to complain about. It's part of the national identity. There are actually over 50 ways to describe rain in the Irish language, from mist and drizzle to hammering rain, but none to describe complaining about it. That's how they get through wet days, with humor and calmness. Another unwritten rule: don't expect bright, sunny summers. When the whole country gets a rare rain-free week, everyone rushes to the parks, takes off their shirts, and gets sunburned in a few hours. No one wants to miss the sunshine because it might not come back for another 3 weeks. And don't mention snow. Ireland practically shuts down nationwide after just a few inches. Schools close, buses stop running, and the media calls it a historic blizzard, even though in New York, it would just be a regular Monday morning. Number 14. The country that banned divorce. Can you believe there are places in the world where people can get legally married, but never officially divorced? Sounds like a paradise for love, right? But this was the reality in Ireland. This modern country kept a divorce ban for nearly 60 years after its founding. It wasn't until 1995, after a heated referendum, that divorce was finally legalized, by a razor-thin margin, 50.3% for, 49.7% against. Surprised? For decades, even if a couple broke up, separated, or lived apart for years, they were still legally married, unless they went abroad to get divorced. In Ireland, the courts would simply refuse to process it. Even today, Ireland is known for having one of the most complicated divorce processes in Europe. Two people must live apart for at least 2 consecutive years, provide full financial records, witnesses, and even handwritten letters proving they tried to reconcile. And if one person doesn't agree, the process can drag on for years. Because divorce is so difficult, many couples choose to live separately but never officially divorce, fearing disappointment from parents or community judgment. What do you think? If you got married in a country where ending a marriage is harder than starting one, would you still go for it? Share your thoughts below. Number 13. Don't make fun of red hair. You know, Ireland is home to the world's most famous redheads. About 1 in 10 people here have natural red hair, the highest rate anywhere on the planet. And get this, genetic studies show that nearly 40% of Irish folks carry the recessive red hair gene. But red hair isn't just some quirky trait, it's a symbol of identity, national pride, and yeah, historically, it's even been a source of discrimination. Every year, thousands of redheads from all over the world gather in Crosshaven, County Cork for the Redhead Convention. There's music, performances, catwalks, and even carrot-throwing contests. It's not just a party, it's a statement. We're different, and we're proud of it. So what's the big taboo in Ireland? Well, calling someone ginger in a mocking tone, even if you think you're just joking, is considered an insult. It's almost like a mild form of racism, especially in schools or workplaces. Tossing out jokes like redheads have no soul or redheads have a temper is taken seriously as verbal harassment. Have you ever met a redhead in Ireland? They could be street artists, doctors, politicians, or just your favorite cheerful pub owner. Whether you know them well or not, never use ginger as a joke. Unless, of course, you want to get a cold steel glare. Number 12. Why is bird poop lucky in Ireland? So you're strolling down a street in Dublin when, out of nowhere, splat, something lands right on your shoulder. You look down and realize you've just been hit by bird poop. For most people, that's just annoying and honestly kind of embarrassing. You'd probably want to run to the nearest bathroom, right? But in Ireland, it's actually seen as a sign of good luck, even like an unofficial blessing from the universe. Sounds weird? Well, that's classic Ireland for you. So the Irish have a long tradition of turning bad luck into good, and honestly, the bird poop story is a perfect example. A lot of folks believe that getting pooped on by a bird is actually a sign of money coming your way, or maybe a surprise opportunity, or even a positive turning point ahead. This belief probably comes from the sheer number of bird species in Ireland, over 450 recorded, from these giant seabirds to tiny little sparrows you'll spot near churches. But, a big part of it is just the Irish spirit, always finding a bit of light in a bad situation. In some rural areas, people won't even wipe bird poop off their clothes right away, because they think washing it off too soon will wash away the luck. You might even see older folks grinning with these bird bombs on their jackets, sipping tea and muttering, "I'm about to win the lottery." Number 11. The matchmaking festival that beats Tinder, and it's been going strong for 160 years. Every fall, the tiny town of Lisdoonvarna in Western Ireland becomes, the stage for one of Europe's biggest and quirkiest matchmaking festivals, the Lisdoonvarna Matchmaking Festival. Thousands of singles from all over show up, looking for love the old-fashioned way. But here's the twist: using Tinder or any modern dating app is like this unwritten taboo. This festival has been happening for over 160 years, drawing more than 40,000 people every year, mostly middle-aged or older folks from Ireland, the UK, the US, and Australia, who all believe in the legendary matchmaker Willie Daly, the guy who keeps this matchmaking notebook that's been passed down through 3 generations. They say if you touch this book, you'll meet your soulmate within 6 months. In this atmosphere where dancing, face-to-face chats, and handwritten letters still matter, pulling out your phone to swipe left or right is considered, honestly, an insult to tradition. Locals have even protested when young tourists live-streamed the festival on TikTok, saying it turned a place of real hope into cheap modern entertainment. In Lisdoonvarna, finding love is serious, almost sacred, and people who come just to laugh, film, or see what it's like are met with suspicion. So turn off your phone and let your heart lead the way. And if you sneak onto Tinder in a pub corner, don't be surprised if Willie Daly himself, with his white hair and sharp eyes, walks over, closes your phone, and says, "You don't need tech, I'm a better matchmaker than AI." Number 10, the unspoken rule. Refugees are placed in cold, forgotten places. Here's something not many people know. The Irish are famously hospitable, but guests need citizenship to be truly welcomed. They'll gladly open doors to friends, students, and tourists. But they often avoid or even oppose refugee centers being built near their neighborhoods. That's right. It's kind of an unspoken rule, never written into law, but it quietly recreates social divisions in a modern, subtle way. Instead of integrating with communities, a lot of refugee centers in Ireland are placed in these remote, polluted, or just plain eerie locations, next to dumps, behind gas stations, near cemeteries, or in areas with no basic public services. Some centers are surrounded by barbed wire or high walls, making locals think they're old factories or repair shops. And honestly, that's the point. They're designed to be out of sight. According to the Irish Refugee Council, as of late 2023, Ireland had over 25,000 asylum seekers, but only a small fraction had regular access to healthcare, education, or community activities. Over 60% of centers are more than 20 miles from city centers, and some have just 1 bus per day. Refugees living there are almost legally isolated, even though they haven't committed any crimes. Number 9. Casual relationships are not accepted. In big cities like Dublin, Cork, or Galway, more young people are exploring casual, non-committed relationships. But even in modern urban areas, this kind of connection is still seen as odd, gets judged, and is often labeled as too much Western influence. Surprised? Ireland is deeply influenced by Catholic culture. Even with big steps forward, like legalizing same-sex marriage and breaking old religious bans, many places, especially rural areas, hold on to old views. Among the middle-aged, many still protect traditional views of love and marriage. A 2021 Irish Examiner survey found that 64% of people over 40 in Ireland believe relationships without clear long-term emotional commitment don't align with Irish culture. Especially for women, openly living an independent relationship lifestyle is still judged negatively and unfairly labeled. Many who choose this path say they've been avoided by friends, lost social opportunities, or faced family pressure. A student from California said, "I shared that I don't care much about marriage and just want a comfortable companion. My Irish classmates immediately looked at me like I'd said something taboo." Number 8, bragging is a social offense in Ireland. Got a promotion, started your own business, or won a big scholarship? In many places you'd be encouraged to share, inspire others, or at least receive congratulations. But in Ireland, talking too much about personal success is almost offensive. Praising yourself, even if it's true, is seen as boastful, lacking in subtlety, and even rude. This is one of Ireland's strongest unwritten social rules, strictly followed, even if never spoken aloud. The Irish follow something called modesty to the point of invisibility. You could be a PhD, a business owner, or an international medalist, but at the dinner table you're still just Joe from Galway or Anna from down the street. Any hint that you're showing off, even by accident, will make the atmosphere go cold and strangely silent. A 2021 Irish Independent survey found that over 64% of Irish people feel mildly uncomfortable when someone shares too many personal achievements. Nearly 30% of people say they'll deliberately change the subject. On the other hand, folks who downplay themselves or even joke about their past mistakes are usually more liked, because they show self-awareness, a really respected trait in Irish culture. Interestingly, Irish people often struggle to talk about their strengths in job interviews. HR professionals even train candidates on how to speak positively about themselves without making others uncomfortable, a skill Americans or the French might find completely opposite to their own cultures. Number 7. Picking wildflowers is illegal. Sounds hard to believe, but it's true. Many wildflowers in Ireland are legally protected, and picking them, even just one, can get you fined $68 to $70. Pick a bunch? Multiply the fine by the number of flowers. Surprised? Most tourists don't know, and even many Irish people aren't aware of the full list of protected flowers. These include common ones like wild orchids, bluebells, and primroses. They grow all over the countryside, walking trails, and parks, but are considered strictly monitored ecological treasures. One controversial case in 2022 involved a British couple who were harshly warned after posting photos of themselves picking flowers in Wicklow National Park. Hundreds of Irish commenters replied, "You just picked a national treasure, not just any flower." According to the Irish Nature Conservation Agency, native flowers are seriously threatened by careless tourists and locals. Some even break branches just for a check-in, leading certain areas to post signs, "No picking, fine applies per flower." Number 6. Watching YouTube could get you prosecuted. Only watch Netflix, YouTube, or TikTok. Think you don't need to pay for TV? In Ireland, that could land you in court. The TV license fee, an annual mandatory charge of up to €160 or about $170, is a legal requirement for anyone who owns a device capable of receiving TV broadcasts, even if you never watch TV. Sounds unfair, but it's real. Over 10,000 Irish people are taken to court every year for not paying for something they don't use. Even more shocking, there's a whole team of undercover inspectors authorized to knock on doors for surprise checks. They don't need a warrant. If they suspect you have a TV receiving device, that's enough to question you, write you up, or even summon you to court. A student in Galway said, "I live alone and only watch my laptop." But they still knocked, asked if she had a TV, and when she said no, they replied, "If you can watch videos on a screen, it still counts as a receiving device." A homemaker in Limerick was fined for her smart TV, even though she only used it for Spotify. According to the National Communications Agency, the government collects over $215 million a year from this fee, most of which goes directly to the national broadcaster, often criticized for its lack of transparency and low viewership. Number 5. A gentle taboo that hurts deeply. Think refusing a cup of tea is no big deal? Well, in Ireland, it's actually a super sensitive, unwritten rule. When someone offers you a cup of tea, they're not just pouring a drink, they're offering hospitality, trust, and goodwill. Refusing tea, even politely, is seen as turning down their warmth, a cultural slap that quietly hurts the locals. The Irish drink more tea than anyone in Europe, an average of 184 cups per person per year. But tea here isn't like a fancy English tea party. Irish tea is strong, hot, milky, and always shared together in a cozy kitchen where real-life stories matter more than any cake. A cup of tea warms your hands and your heart, especially during funerals, goodbyes, or when friends need to be heard without judgment. Interestingly, the Irish often offer tea 2 or 3 times, even if you say no. That's the ritual. Refuse once, not to be a bother. Accept the second time, classic Celtic style. Refuse all 3 and they may never offer again. According to an Irish Times survey, 70% of Irish people think refusing tea is impolite. They won't get mad, they just might not see you as one of the family. Number 4, saying sorry too much is an unwritten social rule. In Ireland, you'll hear people say sorry when they enter an elevator, interrupt to ask the time, or even when a joke falls flat. The peak of this reverse logic: if you bump into them, they'll apologize to you first. Why? Because the Irish have an unwritten rule: never make others feel at fault. Apologize first to smooth over any awkwardness. This leaves many foreigners, especially Americans, a bit confused. In American culture, sorry usually means accepting personal responsibility. You say it when you're wrong, not just to fill silence, but in Ireland, sorry is the social glue. Sometimes it's the only way to end a potential confrontation without anyone losing face. Face it, a 2021 Trinity College Dublin study found that Irish people say sorry an average of 810 times a day, and nearly 90% admit to apologizing for no clear reason. This isn't just limited to daily life. Even in offices, Irish people often start emails with sorry for the late reply, even if they're actually right on time. Number 3. The strangest unwritten rule of Irish festivals. On March 17th, Ireland celebrates what's basically its unofficial national holiday. Parades, green beer, flags, and everyone dressing up as leprechauns, the iconic folk fairies. The whole country turns into a sea of green. But did you know that if you wear white, red, or even black, strangers might physically interact with you? According to folklore, only those wearing green can hide from mischievous leprechauns. Otherwise, you're fair game for playful tricks. This has become a modern custom. Anyone not wearing green on this day gets pinched by friends, co-workers, or even strangers as a reminder or a joke. And no, foreigners aren't exempt. In Irish schools, teachers include this tradition as part of cultural education, and many companies encourage staff to wear green to join in the fun. An Irish Central survey found that over 85% of Irish people see St. Patrick's Day as a powerful affirmation of national identity. Anything off-theme, even wearing the wrong color, is often viewed as disrespectful. Did you know that in big cities like Dublin, green fabric sales jump nearly 200% compared to other months? Many stores stock only green products in the weeks leading up to the holiday to meet the surge in demand. Number 2, getting drunk in a pub is forbidden. Think that in Ireland, the land of pubs and frothy Guinness, getting drunk is normal, even encouraged? Not at all. Public drunkenness in Ireland is actually illegal. While Ireland does have a strong drinking culture, there's zero tolerance for losing control. It's a strange paradox. You can drink a lot, as long as you still look sober and behave yourself. If you're stumbling and shouting in a pub, the owner can refuse to serve you and may even call the police if you cause trouble. Serving more alcohol to someone who is already drunk is also illegal. One of the busiest spots is Temple Bar in Dublin, where tourists often assume they have a right to get wasted. They're usually surprised to learn that only 3% of Irish people call themselves heavy drinkers. Ireland actually ranks 4th in Europe for spirit consumption, after Austria, Germany, and the Czech Republic. In other words, the image of the Irish living in a haze of booze may be a romanticized myth. However, up to 29% of Irish drinkers don't admit to being over the limit, highlighting a gap between self-awareness and social behavior. So even if everyone in the pub is partying hard, being drunk in public is still considered ugly, irresponsible, and against the spirit of community. Number 1, don't say Southern Ireland. Did you know that one seemingly harmless phrase can make things incredibly awkward between you and an Irish person, maybe even beyond repair? Imagine you're chatting with a local and casually say Southern Ireland, or worse, call them British. There's no such thing as Southern Ireland. The official name is Ireland or the Republic of Ireland. This confusion actually stems from the 1922 split, when 26 out of 32 counties broke away from the UK after a bloody war. The remaining 6, now Northern Ireland, are still part of the UK. So calling the country Southern Ireland isn't just legally wrong. It's seen as denying the identity and independence of an entire nation. And calling Irish people British? For many, that's as bad as a public insult. From a local perspective, this is one of the most important unwritten rules, especially in places like Cork, Galway, or Limerick, where national pride is preserved in folk songs and murals filled with resistance history. The Irish are deeply proud of their unique culture, from the Gaelic language to the slow, ritualistic way they drink Guinness. Getting their country's name wrong is like erasing all of that. So before you speak, remember, say Irish, not British, and if you're not sure, just politely ask, what's the correct way to refer to your country? The Irish will genuinely appreciate that. So, we've just explored 15 taboos and unwritten rules in Ireland. Hopefully this information helps you see Ireland more clearly. It's a wonderful country with so much to discover, and respecting local culture will make your experience even more memorable. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel so you won't miss our next videos. See you next time. Thanks and goodbye.